basis. More on these stories at townhall.com.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Going to feel more like summer for the next few days. The high today, 87 degrees and a little bit humid, lots of sunshine. And oh man, overnight lows tonight in the upper 60s. Should be nice at the ball game, right around 80 degrees to get things started. And a high tomorrow of 90 degrees with the heat index up to about 93. We could even hit 93 for the temperature, and it's going to be a little bit cooler on Sunday, but still unseasonably warm with a high of about 87. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of Colombo and Katie brought to you by Gutter Pros. Water goes where we tell it. Call 314-656-7195 or visit them at gutterpros.com.
I'm Susie Moore, and this is More to the Point.
So, impeachment inquiry hearing number 1 was held on Thursday, and it was a doozy. With all the fur that flew, I'm surprised our Congress critters weren't hacking up fur balls. Well, some of them sort of were. The stated purpose of Thursday's hearing was to set forth the basis for proceeding with the inquiry. That didn't stop the Dems, of course, from conflating the investigation with the trial and squawking endlessly about there being no evidence of wrongdoing on the part of Joe Biden, and howling about Republicans doing exactly what they did less than 4 years ago. There were plenty of lowlights, but the one that stood out the most to me was when Dan Goldman, who fancies himself quite the legal wizard, pondered, if there were 9 Biden family members who got money from these business transactions, isn't it striking that Joe Biden was not one of them? Why, yes, Matlock, it's striking indeed. Everyone around Joe Biden, including his grandchildren, was getting money from foreign nationals, but Joe himself was singularly isolated from this lucrative enterprise. You don't suppose it's because they realized that forwarding millions of dollars directly to Joe might tip even the most casual observer off to the fact that the big guy was on the take, do you? Not our best, not our brightest.
Susie Moore is Deputy Managing Editor for RedState.com. For more to the point and everything Susie Moore, log on to RedState.com. Follow Susie on Twitter at SmoozyQ and keep listening to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey, it's First Alert Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton from Channel 4, and we are proud to be the official weather source for News Talk STL. Just like you've grown to expect from us at Channel 4, you can expect the same accurate, detailed, and timely weather coverage from News Talk STL. The First Alert weather team will keep you ahead of the big weather changes. And the one thing you can count on in St. Louis, the weather is constantly changing. So Channel 4 and News Talk STL are committed to keeping you up to date and safe.
Tony Colombo.
Libertarianism is all about individual liberty.
It is a very warm Friday. Very sunny, very warm, upper 80s. Will that hold through the weekend? We will find out from Chief Meteorologist over at Channel 4, Steve Templeton, in about 35 minutes from now, about 2:45. He will join us, as he does every Friday, to give us the weekend forecast. Speaking of the weekend, we have a great show every Saturday morning called the Bluff City Outdoors Show here on News Talk STL. And it is hosted by myself and Mark McMurray, the owner of Bluff City Outdoors. And tomorrow we have a guest, a regular guest, Mike Marfell, a local professional fisherman, and obviously somebody who knows quite a bit about the great outdoors. He is going to actually join us on this show in just about an hour from now, because there are some national headlines involving the great outdoors, including the Biden administration wanting to cut funding to schools across the country that provide shooting teams or shooting classes like archery or shooting sports in high schools. He wants to cut the funding to those schools across the country because guns are bad, according to the president. And also, he wants to release grizzly bears near a neighborhood in the state of Washington. So we'll get Mike's thoughts as
What?
somebody. Yeah.
They let him go in Disney World, and now this.
Yes, there's a story out today, headline out today about the Biden administration. They're trying to grow the grizzly bear population in the country, so they are wanting to release a whole bunch of grizzly bears in northern Washington, which is right by this community, this city there, small town there. And the people are like, please don't put these bears in our backyard where our children are. So Mike Marfell is the perfect person, I think, to talk about all of those stories involving the great outdoors. Again, that is just about an hour from now. We'll pick up those issues. And joining us on the line now, as he does every Friday afternoon, joining Katie and I. Oh, by the way, that was the great Joey V, as I mentioned yesterday. Katie is out for a couple days. She was out yesterday, out again today. She'll be back on Monday. So Joey V is in studio with me. And on the line is the great Gabe Pfeiffer from the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show. Gabe, hello.
You know what time it is. Let's go.
You know what time it is. Welcome to a Friday afternoon. So, yeah, lots to talk about today.
Bears. Oh, my.
We've got the Bears. We got bear. Yeah. Now there's bears being released by the president near citizens of the United States.
All I have to say is not today, Satan.
Not today. I should have given you. If I would have seen this story in time, I should have sent it to you so you could have done it this morning on Not Today, Satan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Not only is he trying to ban shooting sports, but he sees no problem releasing dozens of grizzly bears in the forest right next to a town.
He sounds like a weird tyrant from a video game.
He doesn't make any sense. I know, right?
Now that I have your guns, I release the bears into your neighborhood. Ha ha ha.
Take the guns. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. We take the guns away and then we release the bears.
Exactly.
So
he sounds like a cartoon villain.
I know, it really does. So I don't even know where to start. We've got the situation with the tragic death of Senator Dianne Feinstein, and now the political mess that is creating in the state of California and with the United States Senate. We have the government on the brink of a shutdown, and we have numbers, a poll out now about the debate on Wednesday night and who Republican voters think won that debate. So we'll try to get to all of it as we go through the afternoon here with Gabe Pfeiffer, and let's start with the government shutdown. There was a chance, a vote today that did not make it through. The White House and Democrats rejected the Republican approach to the latest continuing resolution package with a vote today that failed at 198 to 232. 21 Republicans voted with the Democrats to sink that bill today. We're now, just 2 days away? Tomorrow is the last day, so I guess Sunday would be the first day of the government shutdown. Tomorrow would be the 30th, being the day that the existing budget expires. So it's not all the way over yet, but many people are resigned to the fact now that it does look like we are heading towards a government shutdown. What are your thoughts on this whole mess that's been unfolding over the last few weeks, Gabe?
Well, the reason that the Republicans are holding all this stuff up is because they want the Biden administration to kind of to hold up its commitment that it made a long time ago, I think, to start to rein in the spending, which has contributed in large part. I mean, it's basically the source of the inflation that's causing so much harm to everybody's lives. So, really, all of this hair on fire consternation that's being delivered by the media and by the Democrats is really it's disingenuous, because the short-term pain of a government shutdown pales in comparison to the long-term gain that we stand to have if we can manage to get spending just a little bit under control.
So not only is this obviously, bad for the government that we can't keep ourselves funded because of all of the controversy and disagreements within the country. And I'm not sure that I truly believe that a government shutdown isn't maybe the best thing that could happen. I mean, I can see that argument in being that maybe this needs to happen in order to wake some people up and to force people to get on the same page. I don't know. It's going to be, but I mean, it's never good. Obviously, this is never a good thing when the government shuts down. But I feel like we almost are to the point now where we have to take extreme measures because, Gabe, as I've mentioned before, what we're debating, what all of the argument about over the last several weeks has been about the 30 or 45 day continuing resolution. We can't agree on how to kick the can down the road.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Let alone solve the budget itself. So if we can't even agree on how to put in a 1 month stopgap, how far away are we from solving any real problems and and addressing the real issue?
I'm not really sure what the solution is here because part of the thing is the way the Democrats campaign, the things that they promise to people is always based on government largesse. So, they can't politically give an inch on those things because those are all their campaign promises. Those are all the things that they hang their political hats on. And then, of course, the Republicans then always end up looking like the bad guys, just trying to say, no, government, you need to eat your vegetables. You know what I mean? It's a weird situation we're in right now where America's basically, an obese individual suffering from various ailments and diabetes and whatnot. And the Republicans have to basically become Jim Bros and say, dude, you got to eat clean and lift heavy. and you'll get better. But you have to do so in an encouraging way. And it's a tough sell. It is absolutely a tough sell to say, okay, I need you to have actual discipline every day in and day out, and not binge on candy every other moment that you can, just so you can actually have a healthy economy, because America's been running on candy, essentially government candy forever.
Yeah, no kidding. A lot of the stories out today, especially the ones that have come out in the last hour or two since this final vote sank, and it looks like we are almost certainly headed towards a government shutdown, are focused on Kevin McCarthy. And this has been something that we've been talking about all year, ever since the election, ever since the Republicans took the majority in the House, and the long, complicated, controversial process of getting Kevin McCarthy to that spot has never really gone away. It's been an uneasy truce between him and a certain faction of the Republican Party, and many people are watching this unfold and saying that this is something that could ultimately do damage, or maybe even see another call for a replacement of Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House. What do you think about the way that the Speaker has handled this situation and his the chances of a real effort to replace him coming in the near future are?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, this sort of fight was among the things that he also promised the caucus, and I can't remember if there was a name for that caucus, but basically the holdout votes during the majority competition, essentially. And they said, hey, you have to agree to these things.
The Freedom Caucus, maybe? Is that the name?
It might have been the Freedom Caucus.
That Matt Gaetz group is what you're talking about, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, they basically tried to hold his feet to the fire. They said, hey, you got to promise us to do X, Y, and Z if you're going to be Speaker and you're going to gain our support. And if not, there's going to be trouble. And he's courting the idea of reneging on that agreement. So then I imagine these are not the types of folks who have the toothless threats. So, something may come out of this.
Yeah, no kidding. And it is something that we will obviously continue to keep an eye on and see if there's any last-ditch Hail Mary attempts over the rest of the day today, or maybe sometime over the weekend, to try to stop the government from being shut down. Where are you at on a government shutdown in general? I hear people from across the board. You'll hear people say that it's absolutely the worst thing that could ever happen, and it's terrible and we should avoid it at all costs. And then you hear other people say, you know what, good. And maybe it does need to shut down for, to wake some people up. As I mentioned earlier, where are you on that, on the devastation level, I guess, of a government shutdown? Is it the worst thing in the world, or is it something that maybe we need to have happen?
Well, I won't say I'm in the middle on it. I'm definitely towards the latter, where I think if the government needs to shut down in order to wake people up that, hey, and hold people to the fire, that we need to get our fiscal house in order, then absolutely shut the government down all day. But I do think it's sad, not I guess in the way that people say, oh my gosh, the government shutting down is the worst thing ever. In effect, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Sure, it's a big deal to government employees who have to kind of manage through not getting their pay, or having their pay delayed, I should say, for that period. But it's more about the fact that it's an indicator about the fecklessness of our government. It's an indicator of how dysfunctional we are, especially when it comes to fiscal matters. So in that regard, yes, I think it's sad and stupid that we're even having all of this discussion about government shutdowns. But inevitably, though, I think it's a good thing if it results in the necessary cuts, or at least some measure of necessary cuts out of our budget.
That is Gabe Pfeiffer from the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show that you can hear every day here on News Talk STL starting at 5:30. Gabe is going to stick around with us for a little bit longer, and as I mentioned, we've got a new poll out from the Washington Post that asked Republican voters across the country who won Wednesday's debate. We'll tell you about the results of that poll and tell you about the huge political hole that Governor Gavin Newsom has dug himself in now that Senator Dianne Feinstein, has sadly passed away, and he is now tasked with appointing a replacement to that seat about a year before a very contentious election that was already building around that seat, and some promises that the governor had made in the past, probably not thinking he would ever be forced to have to live up to those promises. But now, here we are. I'll explain all of that as we continue with Gabe Pfeiffer next on Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. I imagined you in the front row, singing all the lyrics too.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Colombo and Katie, Jones and Arps.
Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble.
Subscribe and watch
News Talk STL.
So it's a pretty warm day out there today, but we are really close to another change in the weather here in our area. Things will be cooling down, and this is always a good time whenever there's a change like this happening in the seasons. It's a good reminder that you should have your house protected with a pest control service, and I cannot recommend the team that we use at our home, All Solutions Pest Control, enough. When the temperatures do cool down, much like us, much like humans, everything that's outside, when it gets too cold to be outside, they're going to want to come inside, and they're going to want to come into your home. And All Solutions Pest Control can help prevent that from happening. Of course, if you are experiencing a pest issue, no matter what it may be, ants, spiders, termites, mice, wasps, mosquitoes, and many, many more. If you are having an issue, All Solutions Pest Control can come in and take care of that problem for you. But more importantly, and the reason that All Solutions are so important to our home, is prevention. We don't want any of that stuff. We don't want to be dealing with any of those things at our home, and that is why we trust All Solutions Pest Control to keep that from happening at our house. And right now, if you are looking for a new pest control service, you can take advantage of a $67 introductory special from All Solutions Pest Control. What a perfect time of the year to take advantage of that. Get all of these services from All Solutions Pest Control and see if they are right for you and your family moving forward as they are for our family. Again, $67 introductory special offered now at All Solutions Pest Control. So make sure you give them a call and check them out. Learn more at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
Kids don't always like to get school report cards, but they are important and helpful. They document subjects where they're strong and others where they need to show some improvement. Ever wonder why you don't get a report on how your child's school compares to others? At the Show Me Institute, we think you should, and that's why we've started the Missouri School Rankings Project. Click on the website moschoolrankings.org, and it's all there. Rankings and letter grades for all the schools in Missouri. The rankings are based on several categories, such as student performance in English, language arts, and math, ACT scores, and graduation rates. Then we take the rankings and come up with a grade point average, just like your child has. Each school and district will have a grade, and the website is easy to use. Don't you want to know how your child's school stacks up? Now you can. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
How's your health care? Insured but afraid to use it because of high copays and deductibles? You wait weeks for a few minutes with your doctor? It's Dr. Randy Tobler, and I struggle with the same issues as both patient and doc. You want to know that you're the focus, not the billing codes or faceless denial experts at insurance skyscrapers, which is why I've decided there's a better way. At Body of Health Direct Primary Care, you'll receive timely and time-rich appointments in person or virtually, whichever fits your needs and schedule, along with hundreds of free medications, transparent and truly affordable labs, and most importantly, a trusting relationship. We'll dig deep for solutions to problems and fill you with holistic coaching to minimize the need for high-powered medicine or specialty care. Now, if you need that, I'll work with specialists to streamline that journey too. And if it's prenatal care, hormonal, or sexual health that's bugging you, I'm board certified in women's health. Want a Body of Health? Get to know us at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
The Democrat Party is going to have to go back toward the center.
News, analysis, and opinion.
I've never called a talk show before, but this just irked me.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Follow Tony Colombo on Twitter at Tony Colombo Talk.
Welcome back to Colombo and Katie on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Perry Woods Friday, as every Friday is, here on Colombo and Katie. We play Perry's music as our bumper music, and a good reminder to support local music every chance that you get. It being Friday means we'll also have a little Friday fun time a little bit later on in the show, and in just about 15 minutes or so, we will get the weekend forecast from Channel 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton when he joins us, and we'll see if this unseasonably warm weather will continue through the next couple of days. Right now, Gabe Pfeiffer from Mike Ferguson in the Morning is still on the line with us. And diving back into some of the stories of the day, a poll was released today, Gabe, from the Washington Post that shows Republican voters thought Ron DeSantis won Wednesday night's debate. It gave DeSantis a pretty overwhelming victory, with 33% of the people that participated in this poll saying that DeSantis won. Nikki Haley was in second at 18%, and Vivek Ramaswamy in third at 15%. We haven't had a chance, Gabe, you and I, to talk about the poll since the debate since Wednesday night. That was my Monster Energy. Sorry. The can just popped of my Monster Energy can just popped, and Joey looked around the room like, what?
I thought the HVAC was coming down.
Are we under fire?
Bruce Willis was crawling around up there.
So sorry about that, but yeah, Gabe, you and I haven't had a chance to talk about the debate since it went down on Wednesday night. What do you think of that poll? Do you agree with it at all? And what were some of your takeaways from the debate as far as who did well and who didn't?
Certainly, I think Ron DeSantis Well, the interesting thing is, I don't think he had a particularly good night. It's just that he had a much better night than everybody else. And that's kind of how I viewed what happened. Now there were a couple of instances though where he was as I call him highlight reel Ron DeSantis, because if I'm not sure if I said this on the show last week, but a lot of people's impressions prior to him entering the presidential race, the parts that got him really in the faces of a lot of people and got him on the map was his interactions with people where he had the opportunity um, to push back against a false narrative. And that's basically where his that's his forte. He knows exactly how to do it. He knocks down the false narrative. He calls it what it is. He corrects the record. He pivots to a real issue that he has a record on. He talks about that record and the accomplishments that he's had in his state, and he personalizes it with a personal story. And he did every single one of those things with that gotcha sort of question that came from the Univision host about the curriculum about slavery, the education curriculum about slavery. He hit that so far out of the park. There were immediate reactions. There were entire articles written about that response within like 5 minutes of it happening, that was floating around on the internet. So it was right about then that I realized that he kind of took it away. And he had another opportunity to do that when Nikki Haley suggested that Florida had banned fracking and things like that. So he had a similar response to her that I think it didn't quite go quite as viral, but it certainly was in his wheelhouse. And that's where he got to show his strength. And then, of course, he didn't participate in all the shouting matches, and that made him look even more presidential. So I definitely agree with the assessment that he overall probably had the best night.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because that was one of the I was taking notes because Vic and Katie and I went live on all of our social media platforms right after the debate for a live stream, a reaction live stream, which you can still go and check out on all of our social media channels, the new station YouTube channel at News Talk STL Official, our Rumble page, our Facebook page, our Twitter page. You can go and check that out. And one of the notes that I had taken during the debate was that exact moment. And unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to talk about this in our live stream, and I haven't talked about it yet either, which is why I'm so glad you brought it up. I thought that was such a loaded question, obviously, like a gotcha type, loaded question. I thought Ron DeSantis handled that question so well, and I wrote it down in my notes. I said DeSantis answers the slavery curriculum question beautifully, and then I wrote, and then Tim Scott chimed in afterwards, and so I wrote in my notes because I had already written the part about Ron DeSantis, and I put ... and Tim Scott did even better because I thought Tim Scott's response on top of Ron DeSantis's was even better. So I thought the two of them together did a very impressive job of handling what was a very loaded question, obviously. What's interesting also about this poll, as I mentioned, the Republican voters, according to this new poll released today from the Washington Post, say that Ron DeSantis won Wednesday night's debate. They did a poll right before the debate asking what people expected from it, and the same poll said that the voters expected Vivek Ramaswamy to win, and he instead finished a pretty distant third. Do you think that my assessment earlier in the week was I don't think that Vivek was the worst person on the stage. I think that goes to Chris Christie or possibly Mike Pence or maybe Doug Burgum, just because he's spinning his tires being up there. But I think that Vivek fell the most because I think he did have such a strong first debate performance and was getting tons of accolades for that performance in that first debate. I did not think he lived up to that. So I don't think that he finished last as far as performance is concerned or anything, but I do think that he lost the most momentum of the group. What are your thoughts on Vivek's performance as opposed to the last one, and outside of Ron DeSantis, who did well for themselves and who didn't?
I think, like many people, I was very intrigued by Vivek when he kind of popped onto the scene, and he was making a lot of noise online. He seemed to have a really good digital game in terms of his campaigning style, which was unique for Republican candidates. And that suggested that he had the potential to go far. He had a pretty solid message, but I think part of the thing I think we're starting to see some of the cracks in his armor that we're starting to see is that his answers are very, very rehearsed because we're starting to hear sort of the same lines over and over again, which that's pretty typical for politicians. But he can't seem to go very deep into a lot of these issues as not as much as some of his competitors who've been in the business for a while. So there's definitely a distinct possibility that he's going to stay a surface level candidate in his ability to garner attention and deliver some fine lines here and there. But when it comes to substantive policy issues, he has some interesting policy positions, but his ability to defend those, I think, is going to be tested with all of these veteran politicians on these debate stages, and I'm not sure he's going to be able to hold his own. I think this was the first debate where he really, really needed to. He needed to show his chops, and people were not impressed with what they saw.
Yeah, no, I thought some of the hypocrisy in his answers shone through this past debate after being Vivek Ramaswamy, is who I'm talking about, and being the person who sort of attacked some of the not sort of
All
he
of.
did attack all of the candidates on the
Tim
stage.
Scott called him out
last
on it.
time. Yeah, and then this time he was trying to play the card like, well, hey, the voters don't want to see us up here taking shots at each other or slinging insults, and everybody on the stage was like, "Are you kidding
Excuse me?"
Out of the guy who said we're all bought and paid for, like,
Yeah, it was basically his first answer in the last debate.
Exactly. So I didn't think that was very. I thought that hurt. I thought that hurt his stock. As for the losers of this debate, according to the Washington Post poll released today, 24% of the people polled said that Chris Christie performed the worst. 20% said the same about Vice President Mike Pence, and 11% said that about Doug Burgum. And also, speaking of Donald Trump, the same poll asked about Trump's support, and it was basically unchanged. It went up just a slight tick, like 0.1%, but it is still just absolutely massive. They asked after the debate, if this is Republican voters being polled by the Washington Post, what is your number? What percentage support Donald Trump for president? And the number is 63.9%, and it was, and that's up from 63.8%.
His staying power
that
is pretty remarkable.
That is an incredible number.
I continue to be by the ability, his campaign's ability to just kind of maintain this massive lead. It's very interesting. We're living in very interesting times. So
yeah. So Dianne Feinstein passed away. This story, obviously, it's tragic to see somebody in the United States Senate or somebody who's led such a public life, pass away. That's always very sad. And then now there's so much repercussions also attached to it. First of all, what I found to be amazing is, did you know that Dianne Feinstein was in the United States Senate casting a vote on Wednesday?
I did not know that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
She voted on Wednesday, and she passed away last night. That is just wild to me, just as an aside. And now this creates a political mess, particularly for Gavin Newsom, because here's the hole that the governor has dug himself in. So now it is Gavin Newsom, the governor of California's responsibility to appoint a replacement. He does not want to do this, and he did not want to do this to begin with, and was obviously hoping this didn't happen because he appointed the other current senator who has since won an election, but he had to appoint Alex Padilla to the United States Senate when Kamala Harris accepted the vice president nod. So he had to replace a senator already once in California, and because and because Kamala Harris was was the first ever female black woman elected to the United States Senate, there was all kinds of backlash against him when he did not replace Kamala Harris with a black woman. And so he said at the time, he pledged that he would select a black woman to fill any future vacancies. And I'm sure he's thinking to himself, yeah,
oh, crap.
This will never happen, right? Well, now America's chickens have come home to roost.
Now,
to
I
steal
hadn't
a
heard
phrase.
that aspect of the this story.
So
live by the demographic and die by the demographic.
It gets worse because you think that people don't remember him making that promise in the state of California. Believe me,
Oh, they remember
do.
in California, I bet.
And that seat was already shaping me up to be a very sensational, highly publicized election, because not only is it a big, United States Senate seat, but Adam Schiff is in that race.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a California congressman named Barbara Lee who is also in that race. Barbara Lee is a black woman. And so Gavin Newsom has come out already and said that he is not going to fill this seat with somebody that's one of those top candidates, because he, in his words, doesn't want to interfere with the election. He doesn't want to, put somebody in place and give them that advantage, and no matter what. And Barbara Lee and her people are thinking and saying now publicly, we were next in line. You said you were gonna put in a black female to replace if there was any future vacancies. I'm the person for the job. I'm the one next in line. And now he's saying he's not going to put in Barbara Lee or Adam Schiff or anybody else in that, and he's going to put in his words a caretaker, somebody to hold that seat for a year until that election happens in 2024. So you just kind of touched on it there, Gabe. Live by the sword, die by the sword. It reminds me of Joe Biden, promising that he would select select a black female to the Supreme Court. You make these promises, and then when the reality hits, it becomes a bigger problem, because now he's not making anybody happy. He makes that promise because he thinks he's pandering to a demographic, but that demographic is not happy because there's a chance now to put Barbara Lee, who's in that race, in that spot. He's not going to do it. So much like Joe Biden, they think that they're, patting a group of, patting a demographic on the head and pandering to them. But it all just backfires, does it not?
Oh, absolutely. Now, what's interesting is when all this kind of shook out this morning on the show, we were talking about just the standard political reality that yes, you could either be a kingmaker and put somebody in who really wants the position, so then come the 2024 election, they are running essentially as an incumbent. Or you put in like you said, the caretaker or the seat warmer, however you want to put it. Mm-hmm. You bring somebody back as like a retired this or a retired that, who obviously doesn't have the political aspirations to stay there, and then you let the elections run their course. And being the pragmatist that we figure him to be, we figured the latter was going to happen. I mean, he wants to run for president. He doesn't want to screw that up by messing with the electorate's chance at voting who the senator is. But I hadn't heard of or even remembered this whole promise thing. And yeah, that chicken apparently is coming home to roost, and that's a major complication.
It's a major complication.
I'll tell you what, there are a lot of problems. There are a lot of cracks in the base of support that the Democrats have been enjoying for a long time from particularly Black and Hispanic demographics, where some of these things are looking to backfire on them. Now, I'm not one to suggest that there's going to be the major flip in support as others are. Others are much more optimistic about that whole idea than I am. But when it comes to presidential elections in particular, the stay-at-home non-voter is almost as important as making that massive ideological flip. Because if you can get normal, reliable Democrat voters to vote with their feet and stay home, that is a major win.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and this all happening at the same time. This big mess happening at the same time that Gavin Newsom passes more restrictive gun laws, making it harder, things harder on legal gun owners, and obviously not affecting criminals at all as when it comes to owning a gun. And on the same week that he just signed into law the $20 minimum wage for fast food workers, which that's a problem. We're out of time, so we can't get into this. But I mean, just looking at this mess, like this is your next guy. Like Joe Biden's a disaster, but this is your next superstar. Like just look at what's happening in California just this week with this debacle with the Senate seat, the new law, the restrictive gun laws, and now $20 minimum wage for fast food workers, which on its alone is ridiculous. But also only for fast food workers, not everybody else. I mean, Gabe, like as we let you go here, I mean, isn't this a wake-up call to the entire country that the already very short Democrat bench is also not good? Because just look at California and think to yourself, do you want that for the entire country?
Yeah, I think these next few months, maybe the next couple of years, are going to be very, very interesting to see how all that pans out.
Yeah.
And we're going to be here to report it all to you.
You know it. We sure will. That is Gabe Pfeiffer from Mike Ferguson in the Morning, which you can hear every day starting at 5:30 a.m. here on News Talk STL. You can also follow Gabe, and you should be subscribed to his YouTube channel, St. John the Philosopher on YouTube. Make sure you're checking that out as well. Gabe, thanks as always, buddy. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday.
Thanks, guys. God bless.
You bet. Back at you. Great stuff there, as always, from Gabe Pfeiffer. All right. As I mentioned, a sort of unseasonably warm day out there. I haven't been outside in a while, but I'm looking out the window. We got blue skies, upper 80s. Pretty nice, especially if you are not ready to let go of the St. Louis summer. The question is, will it last through the weekend? We are going to find out when we get the weekend forecast from Channel 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. He joins us next on Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Colombo and Katie, the new faces of talk radio. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
It's Friday. At 4:05, we'll speak with Rick and Jake from Johnny's Hideout. And at 5:25, Dr. Aaron Hudlin on the potential government shutdown.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
That was actually a pretty good It's Friday from Chris there. Very much like the Tim Jones It's Friday famous line. Oh, boy. We've had this conversation multiple times on the show, and I highly recommend you go back, check out the podcast, and look for recent times when George Rosenthal from ThrottleNet has been on with us, because there is nobody better to talk about the dangers and just how susceptible businesses are to cyber security attacks and malware attacks. He is the best, and his company, ThrottleNet, are the best at keeping your business safe from these cybersecurity attacks. If you are a business owner and you have any doubt about your company's cybersecurity, you need to not wait another minute and call ThrottleNet today. They provide world-class managed IT services and IT support to many local organizations, including my family's own small business. And, we've been with them for years, and not only do they protect you from cyber attacks, they can also, for small businesses that don't have the means to employ an IT department, they can be your IT department, and they can help you with those needs as they arise, and they are just phenomenal in that area as well. They're St. Louis's highest rated and most reviewed outsourced IT company, and there's many different ways that ThrottleNet can help with your business's operation and digital protection. So learn more now and contact them at throttlenet.com. That's throttlenet.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Steve Templeton's Weekend Forecast, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL.
Welcome back to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Great stuff in that last segment. And since the beginning of the show at 2 o'clock with Gabe Pfeiffer from Mike Ferguson in the morning, just want to remind you, if you missed any of that conversation or just want to make sure you never miss anything that happens here on the show, subscribe to our podcast. We put out the show every day as a podcast shortly after we get off the air on basically every podcast platform. So whatever your favorite is, Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, many, many more, just make sure you're subscribed to Colombo and Katie, and you will never miss anything that happens here on the show. I'm Tony Colombo. Speaking of Katie, she is out today. Joey V over there on the Wheels of Steel helping run the show today. And joining us on the line, as he does every Friday at this time, Channel 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Steve, who says it's summer's over in St. Louis? Just go outside, baby. It's pool weather. Let's go. I know, exactly.
Open up the pools. Let's go, baby.
Right? So, of course, the question is, will it last? Is this a little bit of an outlier, or are these warm temperatures going to last for a little while? What do we expect over the next few days?
Well, they've lasted a while already, all week, and
it's true.
They're going to last almost another week. In fact, they'll get a little hotter tomorrow. Tomorrow, 91 for the high. The record is 93 from 1952.
Man.
So, yeah, you got to prepare for the toasty weather. I've been saying this on the air on Channel 4, though. This is a different type of heat than, say, July for a couple of reasons. It is a little bit more muggy today, so I'll definitely acknowledge that. But the fact that the sun sets around 6:47-ish, before 7 o'clock, those temperatures come down quickly. So, yeah, it's hot in the afternoon, but, man, it turns comfortable in the evening quickly.
It's true.
So that's kind of nice.
I
don't know if I'm just trying to be optimistic about it.
No, it's a good point. And there are a lot of look. My wife loves the summer, loves heat, loves the summertime. So she's, when she hears that tomorrow is going to be 91 and another day kind of like today, she'd be very excited about that. So there's a lot of people I know that maybe aren't quite ready to let the summer go away. So.
Well, there's also a bunch of people that want pumpkin spice lattes and sweater weather. But,
that's my daughter. My daughter starts decorating her room in Halloween decor in mid-August, and then my wife refuses to admit that summer's over until about November. So it's quite the dichotomy.
Well, your wife is right, at least climate-wise this year. So 67s are low, not too bad. It warms up quickly with lots of sunshine, sunny and 91 for the high. I'm actually out at a baseball tournament for my son, and I'm thinking to myself, bring sunscreen. So keep that in mind if you're going to be out and about. Maybe you want some sunscreen. 91 and sunny Saturday. Sunny on Sunday, not quite as hot or humid, but it's still hot. 87 degrees will be the high on Sunday. I still have 80s for Monday, Tuesday, 81 Wednesday, and a chance of rain Wednesday night to Thursday morning, and then a cool down, highs in the mid to low 70s Thursday, Friday. So there's a big cool down. We just kind of have to be patient late next weekend.
Yeah, and then you said 87 on Sunday and still sun on Sunday as well?
Yep, tons of sun, 87. Maybe not as humid as like what we're dealing with today or tomorrow, but that's still a pretty toasty day.
And I know it's hard to, this question isn't it, like a definitive, doesn't have a definitive answer because St. Louis weather is so all over the place, especially when we're blending, between two seasons as we are right now. But when we talk about 91 tomorrow and the record being 93, where are we supposed to be as we get, because we're starting October, starting the new month, like where are we supposed to be right now?
And you lose sight of that when you've been so much above normal and so warm for so long, which we have for over a week. So normal high is about mid-70s. So October 1st, this Sunday, the normal high is 75. So we're running well above normal.
Yeah.
But if you don't like the heat, here's a little nugget for you. Today is the last day with a 100-degree record in St. Louis.
Oh,
so
wow.
After today, no more 100s.
Yeah. Wow. Well, yeah, that makes sense. And 93 sounds crazy hot for the record.
The
tomorrow.
latest 90-degree or hotter day in St. Louis was actually October 30th. So we
Really?
still, you still can pop a 90-degree day even in October. But
Yeah.
Typically when that happens, you cool down quite a bit. But we haven't this stretch. It's been kind of a warm stretch. I do see a hit of some cooler air, though, by late next week and next weekend.
Yeah.
That should be nice.
Can you imagine a 90-degree Halloween? I mean, I know it's been warm on Halloween before, but that would be something. And you're so right about this just kind of being aware of these temperatures, because I my wife, like many parents, every single day as they're getting young kids ready for school. Like today, I went to get my son's clothes out of his dresser, and I'm in the habit now because of this time of year, like just double checking what the high is going to be today, as I'm getting it, like, do I need to, should I put him in, in jeans, or should it be shorts or whatever?
T-shirt, sweatshirt.
Yeah, exactly. And I felt dumb today because I'm like, should I put a sweatshirt on him today? And I look at the, I check the high, and it's, like almost 90, and it's like, oh no, we definitely don't need a sweatshirt today.
They can wear T-shirt and shorts.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what he's in, T-shirts and a T-shirt and shorts. But, it just, your brain kind of thinks about the time of year, and you kind of forget for a second what we've been through this week, and like, no, dummy, it's still T-shirt and shorts.
I believe in like Mother Nature likes to equal things out. So if you're way above normal, I think Mother Nature's at some point going to revert to the mean. And if the average temperature is going down just about each day, it's 75 on Sunday, eventually it'll be 74, and then the normal high will be 73. So eventually when you catch up to normal, it feels like a shock. So if you get below normal, like highs in the 60s, it feels like a big shock. So you do have to be prepared and keeping an eye on the forecast. And, hey, that's what we're here for, keep you ahead with those first alerts.
Yeah, great stuff. Thank you, as always. Steve Templeton, Chief Meteorologist over at Channel 4. Really appreciate the heads up on the weekend. And, yeah, if you like if you're not ready to see the summer go away, you've got one last big weekend to take advantage of these warm temperatures. And, again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'll take it. I'll take this over a rainy, lost weekend any day of the week. So,
yeah,
Steve.
and there's still a lot of outdoor activities that don't even have to worry about rain. They just know it's sunny and hot, and they'll get their fun in. So that's good news.
Exactly right. Steve, thanks as always for your time. Have a great weekend yourself, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Thanks so much.
All right, take care.
You bet. That is Channel 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. And, yeah, how about that? Sunday, sunny and 87. Tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, sunny and 91. Definitely a more summer-sounding weekend than the beginning of October. But that's St. Louis for you. All right, we are going to have a little Friday fun time coming up here in just about 20 minutes. We'll end the show, as we always do on a Friday, sending you off in your weekend with a smile on your face. And next, we'll be joined by professional fisherman Mike Marfell. There's a couple of national stories regarding the great outdoors. Bears being released by the Biden administration in Washington, and federal funding banning shooting sports. We'll tell you about all of it next.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values
Haven't been abandoned everywhere.
The far left wants to destroy conservative values in America.
This is News Talk STL. welcome home.
Mark McCloskey here, and my friend Mike Lindell and his team at MyPillow are having a big sale to celebrate their 20th anniversary and the sale of over 80 million pillows. Mike and his team want to thank everyone by giving you the lowest price in their history. The MyPillow queen-size pillows that are regularly $69.98 are now just $19.98, and for just $10 more, you get a king size. MyPillow's patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs to help you get the best sleep ever. Patty and I have slept on MyPillows for a long time, and we just got our new 2.0 pillows and a set of Giza Dream Sheets, and we love them. Go to MyPillow.com to get queen-size MyPillows for only $19.98 or call 800-645-1392 and use the promo code ONFIRE. In addition to this special anniversary offer on the MyPillows, you will also receive deep discounts on all MyPillow products. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-645-1392 and use the promo code ONFIRE to unlock these savings.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is
the state of an emergency for New York City based on the weather conditions. And I want to say to all New Yorkers, this is time for heightened alertness and extreme caution.
Adams says stay home if you can. Up to 5 inches of rain falling in some areas overnight, as much as 7 inches more expected. City officials say no storm-related deaths or critical injuries were reported as of midday. Also at townhall.com, correspondent Shelley Adler reports on the reaction to the loss of Senator Dianne Feinstein.
Many congressional Democrats and Republicans found something they could agree on: the admiration of Dianne Feinstein.
We lost a giant in the Senate.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer speaking on the Senate floor, followed by Minority Leader Mitch McConnell.
Dianne was a trailblazer, and her beloved home state of California and our entire nation are better for her dogged advocacy and diligent service.
GOP Senator Susan Collins of Maine.
I rise with great sadness today to honor my friend and our colleague, Senator Dianne Feinstein.
Feinstein died Thursday night at her home in Washington, D.C. at the age of 90. I'm Shelley Adler.
There's been no breakthrough in talks. The UAW says its 2-week strike against Detroit automakers spreading now to 7,000 more workers at a plant in Chicago and another one in Lansing, Michigan. The Dow finishing down 166 points today. The NASDAQ was up 18. More at townhall.com.
If you trade stocks, then you know avoiding pitfalls is the biggest challenge for both new and experienced investors. Vantage Point's dual patented artificial intelligence provides a powerful solution to this problem by offering predictive accuracy, emotional neutrality, and diverse market forecasts for today's active traders. Vantage Point's AI analyzes billions of data points in seconds, so you get highly accurate predicted market conditions for the next trading day. Take the emotion out of your trading. Text the word money to 813-813. Navigate the financial markets with confidence using AI. Text MONEY to 813-813 right now to learn more for free. Text money to 813-813 to experience the benefits of AI in your trading. Trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors. Past results do not guarantee future performance. By texting, you agree to the terms available at VantagePointSoftware.com and consent to receive calls and texts using automated technology about offers or info by or on behalf of Vantage Point. Your consent is not a condition to purchase and can be revoked at any time. Message and data rates may apply. Text the word money to 813-813.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Heating up today and more of it on the way for our Saturday. We'll start off the morning 67 degrees, sunny skies. It warms up quickly, though, 91 for the high, and that's close to the record of 93 from 1952. A little bit on the muggy side, too, for Saturday. Sunday's not quite as hot or humid, but boy, it's still toasty and well above normal. A low of 65, a high of 87, and sunny skies for Sunday. That's the latest First Alert forecast. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Fox News commentary.
This big box woke retailer is forced to close several stores thanks to skyrocketing theft and crime. Can you guess the store? I'm Tommy Lahren. Find out next.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart.
Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Scale, Target ranks up there with the best of the worst, and now it's coming back to bite them square in the pocketbook. Target will close 9 of its stores, including the East Harlem location in New York City, 2 locations in Seattle, 3 locations in Portland, and 3 locations in San Francisco and Oakland, citing the huge toll theft and organized crime have taken on stores, inventory, and employee safety. Target previously estimated a loss of $500 million this year due to theft. The company admitted added security and anti-theft strategies weren't enough. These areas are too dangerous, and the juice ain't worth the squeeze. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if brick and mortar stores cease to exist in 10 years. I don't care how loving and liberal these corporations want to act like they are. None of them can sustain this level of looting and lawlessness. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show Tommy Lahren is Fearless at Outkick.com.
Welcome home to St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
We need proper representation.
You don't get the policies without the man.
Age is an issue, but there are a lot of broader issues. 101.9 and 94.1.
That's it.
News Talk STL.
Stream Colombo and Katie at newstalkstl.com.
Welcome back to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. It's Colombo and Katie, but it's also the Bluff City Outdoors Show invading Colombo and Katie on a Friday afternoon. As you hopefully know, we have the show, Bluff City Outdoors Show, every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. here on News Talk STL, hosted by myself and Mark McMurray, the owner of Bluff City Outdoors. We talk fishing and hunting and camping and outdoor activities and everything revolving around that world, because that is, the customer base that Mark serves and has been serving for years there at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton, about a mile east of Fast Eddie's there in Alton. Heard me talk about them many, many times. There for you for your next hunting or fishing trip or any excursion to the great outdoors. Bluff City Outdoors can help you prepare for that. And one of our regular guests on that show is Mike Marfell, professional fisherman who has been on the radio with me many times over the years talking about these outdoor activities, is joining us now on the line. And Mike, when I set up this interview earlier today, you never know what's going to happen here at News Talk STL. You never know who's going to be, what big name celebrity is going to be just roaming up and down the halls. And Mark McMurray from Bluff City Outdoors was in the building. I saw him just a minute ago, and I said, hey, get in the studio.
Yep. Good to be in here.
We're talking about the great outdoors, and so I need to get you in here as well. So Mark McMurray from Bluff City Outdoors and Mike Marfell are on with us now, and great to see you both.
This is a bucket list for me, Tony, getting on to be on the Colombo and Katie show.
Is this the first time you've been on Colombo and Katie?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
You've been on every other show I've ever hosted. I know that. So, we
That's true.
We got to check the box. We certainly got to check the box. So I just thought that this was it's perfect that Mark is here also, because there's a couple stories, national headlines that involve outdoor activities. And the one is a very positive story. So we'll start with the good and then we'll get to the bad. I had mentioned this earlier in the week, but I kind of wanted to dig into it a little bit. The United States House of Representatives, overwhelmingly rejected a proposal this week by the Biden administration that would have cut federal funding to high schools and public schools across the country that offer shooting sports. Now, for us in this area, especially in the St. Louis, because this does exist in Missouri and Illinois, but in the St. Louis metro area, this may sound a little bit weird, but this is a normal thing. This is thousands and thousands of students across the country, Mark, that take these types of classes. Like they have a football team, they have an archery team in high school. Or they have a
trap team.
Trap team.
Yep.
And exactly.
Trap and skeet. Yeah, absolutely.
And because guns are bad, according to Joe Biden, he was threatening to cut federal funding for schools that offer these sports. And this week in the House of Representatives, every Democrat except one joined with Republicans to, no pun intended, shoot down this bill and protect the federal funding for the schools across the country that offer that. Only one person in the House of Representatives. It was 424.
22?
Yeah, to one.
Get to one. You don't see votes like that
No.
ever.
No. And Mike, not only do you
That's very refreshing.
Yeah,
Very
I know,
refreshing.
right. Not only do you never see votes like that, or both sides, agreeing on something, but also the fact that it had something to do with firearms and Second Amendment protections and the great outdoors to a certain extent, because that's what a lot of these, the education and the school districts that offer these schools are very often in sort of more rural areas where hunting and fishing, are a big part of life. And it's pretty amazing to see both sides come together. Mike, how important is it in your mind that that we continue to make sure that we protect, the education and the existence of these types of activities for high school kids?
I think it's really important. It's surprising to the point where I'm suspicious.
Right?
Is there some kind of pork somewhere? Or, this is very suspicious. Usually when you say bipartisan, that means both sides are kind of getting screwed.
Yeah. No. I think this was just there was not very much, because it wasn't even the bill itself. It was just shutting down the attempt by the administration to move forward with funding these schools. And Mark, not only is it important, as Mike just said, and I agree that to protect these sports, I'd like to see it. For us, like I mentioned, it's kind of weird to think of a high school in our area that has a trap team, but I'd like to see more of that, because that education and understanding of the outdoors and of firearms or archery or whatever makes people safer.
Yes, it carries a long way. When I was a kid growing up, just for demonstration purposes, my stepdad put a watermelon on a stump and shot it with a shotgun, just to show us. And he did it for us kids. He goes, that's what happens to a human body when you shoot it with the shotgun.
Yeah.
You have to be so careful.
Go ahead, Mike.
Mark, when Tony told me what the subject was going to be, I was going to tell a very similar story. As I've told Tony before, all of my boys have got, now people are going to think I'm crazy, they've gotten a 9mm pistol that they don't take possession of until they're 21 for their 13th birthday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I did was I went out and I filled 1 gallon milk jugs with red Jello and shot it with a .45 handgun and let them know, if you ever point this at a person, this is what happens.
Yeah.
So the only intent is to kill someone if you point a gun at somebody. You don't pull it out to scare somebody,
Right.
Teach them very, very young the consequences. And the kids that just see guns on a video game, that's the ones that don't really get it. When you physically see what happens, just like what you said with the watermelon, it opens people's eyes.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, you see the
I've
destruction.
taken all my kids to tactical pistol stuff, and they're not hearing it from their dad. They're hearing it from a retired Navy SEAL or an ex-Marine recon guy. Get them trained early. I had my first shotgun was at 9. I started hunting when I was 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I've been around guns all my life. Never once had I ever had to point it at a person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm totally comfortable with it. I know, Tony, if you're a gun guy, if you ask me, you're like, oh, Mike, what's your everyday concealed carry? And you want to see it because you're thinking about getting one. I pull it out, clear it, rack the slide, drop the mag out, and hand it to you. And I know if you handle it like a rattlesnake or if you handle it like you've handled a gun before, I know if I want to go shooting with Tony Colombo.
Yeah, and you also know that everybody's safe because you've cleared that weapon, because you have the respect and the education and understanding of that. And, Aaron Tarlow, who is the owner of Southern Armory, who is a great sponsor of this show.
Love Aaron.
And the gun expert that I use on this show, Katie and I use on this show, all the time when it comes to, learning about various gun legislation or, talking about gun restrictions or gun bills or whatever. He's got a very young daughter that he takes shooting, and, and she is going to grow up with that education and that respect for the firearm. And Mark,
100%.
Mark, I think that we talk about, what can we do to address gun crime and address crime in general, and specifically when it comes to illegal weapons and guns being everywhere on our streets. I think that it starts with education. And I know that Aaron at Southern Armory, and you guys have the archery range. You don't sell guns at Bluff City Outdoors, but you have the archery range, and people are shooting archery there on a daily basis. And if they're not, they should be, because it's an absolute blast. At Southern Armory and many of these other places, it's about making sure that people understand and get that education and know everything about that gun or whatever. Before they buy it and before they walk out the door. And I think that understanding and education is what does keep people safe.
It is. Run. It's like anything. You don't just give a kid a lawnmower to go use without showing them how to use it, what it does.
Or a chainsaw.
Or, yes.
Right.
Anything that can
his
cause...
nickname will be Stubby forever after that, Mark.
It's just, and it's similar. It's not, but you teach people to respect it, and you also teach it what its capabilities are.
Yeah.
And with that knowledge, you hopefully they go about and become good citizens.
Yeah. Yeah.
But right now, people aren't taught.
Right.
Right.
Well,
no, they're not.
I thought it was very refreshing, Mike, as you mentioned earlier. I thought it was very refreshing and pretty unbelievable to see a vote in the United States House 424-1. That
I'm hopeful, Tony. That gives me hope.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It
does make me think where the administration, where they're standing on that issue, is so far out there.
Exactly.
Because you just don't see.
Well, yeah.
I don't know if you could get 422-1 on something that says the sky's blue.
Exactly. Our puppies are cute.
Puppies are cute.
I know.
Yeah, right. You're right. That's why I was so suspicious.
I know. I agree with you. I know. It's so. I laughed when you said that, but of course, why wouldn't you be? Why wouldn't you be suspicious?
Yeah.
Because that just doesn't make any sense that they would agree with that. But that goes to show you. I think at the end of the day, I think even Democrats realize that, we're getting so crazy that we're cutting
Joe, don't you?
Yeah, they're trying to distance themselves from Joe, and they're also protecting, because he was talking about not cutting the funding to those sports, cutting the funding to the federal funding to those schools. Period. Which is
because if you disagree with them, if you disagree, then you have to be punished.
Yeah, so this is thousands of schools across the country that all of a sudden were just not going to get any federal funding because they had, a trap team or an archery team or something like that, and that is just crazy. And I think that even Democrats realize that is a step too far. So thank goodness for that. Here's another story. I didn't even have this story when we originally booked this interview, so it's like the stars aligned today because there's two of these outdoor-related national headlines. The Biden administration is making a push to unleash grizzly bears near a small town in Washington. So check this out. There are grizzly bears, of course, in the United States, and they are I don't think they're an endangered species, but they are a species that there are, plans in place to try to repopulate their numbers. So, in a Biden-supported move, they had three options. Two, which would involve actively moving existing populations of grizzly bears to other parts of the country in order to hopefully grow their numbers. And then one would be just keep the course and continue to protect these animals where they are. Well, the Biden-endorsed plan, the one that the president and the White House wants to move forward with, would release up to 7 grizzly bears annually into the North Cascades ecosystem in the state of Washington over the next 5 to 10 years, and would literally be putting these bears in the backyards of the people that live there. the congressmen that represent the area, the people living in that area are vehemently against this move and are trying to make their voices heard.
I don't see what could go wrong.
No, anybody with two brain cells to rub together would be against that idea.
So,
I think the Biden administration should go wrangle the Grizzlies to move them himself. I mean, good Lord.
Yeah, no, Mark, I was going to say, even when the Biden administration attempts to get involved into matters of the great outdoors, they can't make a good decision.
Yeah, that might even be 18 on the insano-meter.
Yes.
No kidding. So I'll just read this quote here. Washington Congressman Dan Newhouse, who is also the Congressional Western Caucus chairman, said, quote, "The National Parks Service and Fish and Wildlife Service should end this process immediately by rescinding the draft EIS and proposed rule. The introduction of grizzlies into the North Cascades would be devastating for our North Central Washington communities. Time and time again, our communities have spoken to express staunch opposition to the introduction of these apex predators, which would be detrimental to our families, wildlife, and livestock alike. I am beyond disappointed that the Biden administration is ignoring our concerns by moving forward with the introduction while putting on the facade of seeking more public input after the decision has clearly already been made." So, Mike, as I mentioned, Joe, when it comes to anything involving the great outdoors, how about you just sit this one out? Because they can't make a good decision no matter how they try.
Yeah, I guess we've got all the other problems solved, right?
Yep.
That's why
the border's secure,
border's good, fentanyl's fine, roads are good.
Hey, maybe you're onto something here. Bears at the border?
Bears are at the border.
Yeah, Mark and I had the same idea at the same time. We can see it.
That is genius.
Bears. You want to reintroduce some grizzly bears to protect to hold the line? I think that might be good.
That actually would probably work, too.
That would work.
Well, you can hear Mark and I every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. on the Bluff City Outdoors Show. Mike Marfell joins us very often on that show as well. Before we wrap this conversation up, Mike, you go first. For people that want to learn more about what you're up to, keep up with your your escapades out there on the water. I know there's the 10 Horse Monty YouTube channel and maybe some other places. Tell people how they can keep up.
That's just it, 10 Horse Monty. I'm too lazy to put a GoPro. I like to fish when I'm fishing. I know I'm going to have to change that. But yeah, 10 Horse Monty on YouTube. That's what. And then me and Gabe have a big championship coming up here in November. So our next video will be around November 4th. So
nice.
That's our team championship down at the lake. And
so much great fishing content on the 10 Horse Monty YouTube channel. Make sure you're checking it out. And if you don't listen to the Bluff City Outdoors Show and you're not familiar with Bluff City Outdoors in Alton, Illinois, Mark, just remind people about what you guys have going on out there because, as I've mentioned before, not only the go-to place for fishermen across the area that Bluff City Outdoors has been for decades, but now, as we mentioned, the archery range and the expansion out there, it's just a great place to go before your next trip into the great outdoors.
Yeah. I mean, we've always killed it on fishing, and then with that in the archery range, I mean, it's state of the art. We got, great bow techs if you need work done on your bows, and we also do trapping supplies. I mean, that's something nobody else does. And in fact, when I stopped in there earlier today, I knew trapping supplies had showed up as soon as I opened the door because they leave a little bit of an odor to them when you order some of that stuff. So, but yeah, we're mile east of Fast Eddie's on Broadway in Alton. Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and bluffcityoutdoors.com.
So archery with we have just a little more time here, and I think this is important. Archery season has started in both Missouri and Illinois. In general, and again, I highly recommend you join us on the Bluff City Outdoors Show because we have these in-depth conversation on a regular basis every week on that show, and it's a lot of fun to talk fishing and hunting and the great outdoors each and every week. So make sure you're checking it out. You can also get that podcast everywhere that you get the Colombo and Katie Show podcast. But Mark, with another hunting season upon us, and more people discovering the great outdoors, are you seeing that trend continuing? That indeed more people are sort of either discovering or rediscovering their love of the outdoors, fishing, hunting, camping, and it continues to grow?
Yeah, that trend's definitely continuing. I mean, COVID triggered it and started, and then everybody getting outside doing stuff, and it's continued. At least for us, it has, and seems like it has for the industry, which is great.
I think you're underselling it, Mark. I think you're underselling it. The Bluff City Outdoor Show is what's triggered this interest in the outdoors.
That's right.
We do get a lot of people that are starting to hear it come in and talk about it, because a lot of people are starting to say, man, it's like a hidden gem as far as an outdoor store.
Yeah.
Because
it really is.
We do things that's so different, and we try to stay on top of what people want.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're getting that bass stuff up to snuff too, Mark. I know you've been working on that over the years.
Yeah.
And guys that are looking for bass, Bluff City's back, baby, for all your bass stuff.
That's
for
fantastic.
Sure.
And Mike, do you see that same thing in the tournaments that you participate around the area? I know that you're at the Lake of the Ozarks a whole lot, but as Mark mentioned, it was kind of COVID when everything was closed and people had to figure out what to do now that all the entertainment venues were closed for a little bit. So many people rediscovered how much they love being outside and love fishing and all of that. Are you seeing that continue on the water?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Our fields are full. We're, 4 or 5 years before COVID, the numbers were way down on bass tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody blamed it on gas prices. Our boats don't exactly sip gas. So, but once, gas is crazy expensive right now, and the Toyota Series is full. The Bassmaster Open was full the week before. All the BFLs have been full, the AIA stuff. So it's big fields, So it's great.
That is awesome.
It's the best.
Yep. We just had a tremendous Alton Catfish Classic, which is a
huge
annual
so cool.
tournament put on by Bluff City Outdoors, one of the biggest catfishing tournaments in the country each and every year. So it's a good time to get back involved. This
Come
is a perfect,
see some monsters.
Perfect time of year also to if you haven't been fishing in a while or haven't been outside, enjoying the great outdoors in a while. This is the time of year to do it. So make sure you prepare for your next trip to the great outdoors by visiting Bluff City Outdoors in Alton, about a mile east of Fast Eddie's there in Alton. And also keep up with everything that Mike Marfell is doing on the 10 Horse Monte YouTube channel. And, of course, join us every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. for the Bluff City Outdoors show. And you can go to the Bluff City Outdoors Facebook page or website for more information about Bluff City Outdoors. Great stuff, guys. Mike and Mark, thank you so much. And
thank you, Tony.
We'll
Thanks
talk
for
to you
having
again
me.
tomorrow morning.
Can I mention one more thing?
Oh, please, sir.
So we do have another catfish tournament coming up.
Oh, nice.
I think it's not next weekend. It's like the 14th, 15th, whatever that weekend is. It's called the Fall Brawl. If you're interested in fishing, it's a different tournament because you can be a boat team or a bank team.
Oh, all right.
So if you're interested,
nice.
hit us up on Facebook and I'll fill you in on it.
Yeah.
So,
it's
a lot of fun.
We'll have you back on to talk about it on this show as we get closer to that. And also, again, just we'll be giving you more information about that tournament on the Bluff City Outdoors show. So make sure you're checking it out. Mike Marfell and Mark McBurney, really appreciate your time this afternoon. And we'll talk to you both again very soon.
Great to be here.
Great stuff.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you so much. All right. We are going to send you off into your weekend, hopefully with a little bit of a smile on your face after another crazy week. We will do some Friday fun time for you here on Colombo and Katie next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Follow Tony Colombo on Twitter at Tony Colombo Talk.
Live and local.
Well, here's what's on my mind. I think I got the solution to immigration.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
Well, the U.S. Senate got its act together in a bipartisan fashion, passing the Shorts Act. Shorts, standing for Show Our Respect to the Senate. Yes, you're right. It involves John Fetterman. Now, he wanted to have the right to wear shorts and a hoodie on the Senate floor. And he said, all these Republicans making all this noise, they got better things to do? Apparently not. Republican Senator Romney, along with Senator Joe Manchin, Democrat, introduced a bill, the Shorts Act, to get the Pennsylvania senator in proper clothing. Even though Senate leader Chuck Schumer said, Well, let's just kind of let be, whatever. Well, you have the Washington Journal journalist, columnist, Peggy Noonan asking, why does Fetterman want to do this? Because he has political needs. Doubling down on his brand. He thinks this will show that he's one of the working class. But this doesn't make you authentic. It makes you a different kind of phony. I agree. So we got the Shorts Act. But they might need a Hood Act because no one said yet you can't wear your hoodie when you're on the Senate floor.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
There is a great story about how John Beal Roofing got started. I encourage you to read it at their website, johnbealroofing.com. That 1947 story leads to 3 generations of the Beal family repairing, replacing roofs on homes and businesses. Read the story at johnbealroofing.com. And when you need roofing help, support my sponsor, John Beal. Call 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800-NEW-ROOF. If you like premium cigars and whiskey, I've got the perfect place. Lit Cigar Lounge, now open in its new space in the district, just off Highway 40 in Chesterfield. Lit Cigars for anyone who enjoys great cigars, whiskey, bourbon, tequila. Ladies, that includes you. Leather seating, numerous big screen TVs, special events featuring live music and tastings. More details at litstl.com. litstl.com. Lit Cigar Lounge in Chesterfield.
This Saturday night at 10 on Stories of New Americans.
I'm joined by Helen Gannon, who is from Ireland. Did you want to go back to Ireland?
Oh, I did. I think that anyone who emigrates will realize the painful transition of emigrating.
Yeah.
I was miserable. All I wanted to do was to go back home.
Stories of New Americans, Saturday nights at 10 on News Talk STL.
Wow, that was my reaction when I walked into Napoli C, now open on the streets of St. Charles, right next door to Napoli 3. And Napoli C is like walking into a 2-level submarine. Fish just outside the portholes. The menu's going to be filled with various seafood, lobster, crab. Good luck with choosing. Napoli C is now open on the streets of St. Charles. Join me at any Cafe Napoli. Clayton, Town & Country, Napoli 3 and St. Charles are right next door, Napoli C.
Hi, it's your buddy Todd Showalter with The Right Mind Show. This Saturday at 5, we're saving America and our sanity with fun guests that'll put a thought in your head and a smile on your face. Kind of like that, don't you? Along with my buddy Joey V and Admiral Andy. Plus, we have King Kirby with DiscountCoffee.com. Hey, we're putting the fun back in our dysfunctional world. It's The Right Mind Show this Saturday at 5, right here on News Talk STL.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
The whole region is paying for that transit light rail system. Is it actually working and giving us a good return on that investment? Let's find out on Monday.
Morning starting at 5:30
on News Talk STL.
Celebration time for you and for me. Celebration time.
Colombo and Katie, the new faces of talk radio.
Man, awesome stuff there in that last segment with Mark McMurray from Bluff City Outdoors and professional fisherman Mike Marfell. Again, you can hear the three of us in regular conversation every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. and right now also Sundays at noon here on News Talk STL, the Bluff City Outdoors Show. And you can find the Bluff City Outdoors Show podcast, the same place that you find the Colombo and Katie podcast. So please subscribe to both of those shows. We put each one of them out after every episode. So whatever your favorite podcast platform is, make sure you subscribe to Colombo and Katie and the Bluff City Outdoor Show and every other show here on News Talk STL because we all put our shows as a podcast. All right, as mentioned, Katie has been out the last couple of days, so joining me in studio has been the great Joey V on the Wheels of Steel, and we typically wrap up our Friday afternoon trying to put a little smile on your face with a little Friday fun time, and wanted to do that right now as well, Joey. This first story, not necessarily Friday fun time, but definitely like super random, out of nowhere headline that has been making news today. There has been a new arrest in the Tupac Shakur murder investigation today that happened in 1996. Of course, very controversial. A lot of questions still swirling. You're probably you're a little bit older than
It was 1996. Yeah.
So do you? I mean, like for me, that was the year I graduated from high school. Tupac and gangster rap is everything. You know, it's hugely popular. So this was a big deal. Were you
I was
little
probably
too young
like
to experience?
first and second grade, but I mean that East Coast West Coast rap hip hop beef was huge. You couldn't get away from it. I mean, it was even if you didn't care about sports, you were a fan of the Bulls. If you didn't care about music, you liked the beef between East Coast West Coast Snoop and Death Row and all that.
So they've arrested a guy who they've talked to many times. A guy named Dwayne Davis. Kef D is his rapping alias. That's the nerdiest thing I've ever said in my life. But he's always this guy. Dwayne Davis has always admitted to being in the vehicle where the shots were fired from, but has never, but has always remained claimed that he was innocent. That he's not the one who did the shooting, and that it was gang members from a gang in California that were upset with Tupac, and and that's how it all went down. But pretty amazing that 27 years later we have an arrest in the Tupac Shakur murder investigation. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that story. It's pretty
you have
amazing.
to imagine when you are involved with such an iconic murder that you cannot keep quiet about that.
Yeah,
I mean,
they wrote a book.
Yeah,
he wrote a book about
it's
about
like
the
OJ,
whole
like,
East
if I
Coast,
did it.
the whole East Coast West Coast battle, and he included some details in there. Apparently, they raided his house a couple of months ago and took copies of that book. And it was funny. I was reading like all the things. It says authorities seized.
He must have had some souvenirs from
an
that.
iPhone, 3 iPads, 4 laptops, a tablet, copies of his book, Compton Street Legends, and a Pokemon USB drive.
Oh my
That's literally what the report says. A Pokeball USB drive.
I mean, he must have gone
Might
his
have
whole
some
life.
secret information on the Pokeball.
He must consider that his
stick.
greatest accomplishment. Like, I killed Tupac. The man did nothing of any talent, is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And then he'd
Yeah.
pull a gun on one person.
Pretty fascinating. That story and all of the unanswered questions surrounding it. It's one of those controversial.
He still walks with us.
Yeah,
with
the
Elvis,
whole Elvis. Exactly, it's exactly what I was gonna say. Like the whole Tupac and Elvis are living on an island somewhere. Pretty interesting stuff that we'll continue to keep an eye on. Here's something I want to put you to the test. I did this too. I did this with you when you were filling in for Katie a couple months ago with various internet slang, things. Well, today they have announced that as they do every year, they're adding about 700 words to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, and a lot of them are slang terms from today. So I'm going to name to you I'm going to say to you some of the new words that are now officially in the dictionary, and you tell me if you know the definition or not. Also, question, they add hundreds of words to the dictionary every year. Do we ever take any words out?
I think they just put a notation that says outdated. As in, you'd be dumb if you used this word.
This
but
word is
we're not
old.
taking anything out.
All right, we'll start easy. Girl boss.
Oh, yeah, that's someone who's in, like, multi-level marketing schemes. No offense. My mom and my aunts have all been a part of those. But, yeah, when you don't have a job and you're paying money to actually buy the product, those people call themselves girl boss and get the coffee mug that goes with it.
I would say that you are kind of right that a lot of girl bosses would fall into that category, but the official definition is ambitious and successful businesswoman or entrepreneur. All right, how about Riz? R-I-Z-Z.
I mean, it just sounds so much like Raz that's all I can think of, poking fun at somebody.
It is romantic appeal or charm. It's short for charisma.
Okay.
So you have a lot of Riz.
I got a little bit of chariz.
You got a lot of... No, not chariz. Let's get it right here. Riz.
Okay. Well, thank you. Now it's a compliment.
This is a dumb one. Doggo.
It sounds like you're lengthening the word dog.
Yep.
That's it. That's how I've seen it used.
Just another word for dog. Do we need another word for dog?
Who saved who? Really?
Just another word for dog.
Oh, that's
Doggo.
That's an annoying thing. They celebrate the gotcha day instead of like your dog's birthday because you don't know it because it's some rescue.
Right.
You celebrate the day I kidnapped you from the streets. Happy gotcha day to Spunky.
Captured day.
Yeah, captured day.
Yeah, but just because people use it as a slang term, is that enough reasoning to put it in the dictionary? Like, do we need doggo in the dictionary?
I don't think so. Yeah, it's too much of a slang word. I don't want it in there. Get it out.
All right, here's a couple of those abbreviations.
Too casual.
Again, why are these in the dictionary? I don't know. TFW. You have what does TFW stand for?
That face win, and usually there's a GIF that goes along with
that
it.
Feeling.
That
win.
feeling. Oh, okay.
That feeling win, according to Merriam-Webster.
Of course. Maybe you're right. I see that as a my face win, and then a GIF or a JPEG that goes with it. So you're probably right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That feeling win.
How about NGL?
Not gonna lie.
Not gonna lie.
Not gonna do.
Exactly right. And I hate this one because, again, I don't know why we have to replace the old one. UAP.
Oh, that's UFO, right?
Yeah, it's UFO, which is now an unidentified aerial phenomenon instead of an unidentified flying object. But again, why do we just create another word for a word that already exists and does just fine on its own?
It just makes me go into the Muppets theme as soon as I say it. Phenomenon. Do 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 do.
Yeah.
Phenomenon.
Phenomenon. That works perfectly. How about this one? Finsta.
Oh, yeah. The people who like to post real. Okay, it's short for fake Instagram, I believe.
That is exactly
right. But it's
right.
like where you post the real stuff
fake.
That'll get you in trouble with your parents.
Yes.
I've always been confused by that. Your fake Insta is where you post the real stuff.
Yep. And I know you'll appreciate this one. Officially now in the dictionary is the word kayfabe.
I love it.
That is professional wrestling fans know.
Professional wrestling storyline.
Yep.
That you treat as truth.
Yep. Back when professional wrestling was still perpetrated as being real life and not scripted, that was called kayfabe. And all of these years later, they have officially put kayfabe in the dictionary.
Thank you, Macho Man, for making that happen.
Is right. And thank you, Joey V, for helping out while Katie has been out. Katie will be back along with me on Monday at 2 o'clock. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Keep it here for the O'Reilly Report next, followed by the Tim Jones and Chris Arp Show, then Larry Connors USA. Thank you so much for listening to us and supporting us here at 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
And every voice on head. We can bring up.
Are you wanting to improve the look and efficiency of your home? Well, one of the best and easiest ways you can do that, get some new windows. Window World, simply the best for less. You can give them a call today at 314-993-1800. Over 20 years in the business in the St. Louis area, over 70,000 satisfied customers. That's because Window World uses double strength glass, gives it a strength not commonly used in replacement windows. They've got the Good Housekeeping Seal of Approval. They've got 18 months, same as cash financing. You can get them today. 314-993-1800, windowworld.com. That's windowworld.com.
Picture this, a room filled with fellow Republicans, all with one question. What could the future of St. Louis City look like under the leadership of Bill Eigel as governor?
Hi, this is Mary Teresa McClain with the Republican Party, City of St. Louis. It's more than a meeting. It's an invitation to hear Senator Bill Eigel talk about the future of our city.
Join us on Thursday, October 5th. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. Visit stlouisrepublicans.com for more details.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
That's what happens if you're a Republican and you're accused of lying to the FBI.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
What does the FBI do? The FBI lies to Congress. The Attorney General lies to Congress. The Director of Homeland Security lies to Congress. And then what happens? Nothing happens.